Hey, I'm Gregory Iron, the only professional wrestler with cerebral palsy, but I'm also the only backstage interviewer for Backstage with BLACKFLY. And today I'm joined by the individual that currently is a TNA superstar, but tonight will be in the main event going for the top tier championship against Cody Deaner. Ladies and gentlemen, I've known him for a long time. Big Bill Collier. Good to see you.
Greg, it's good to see you, my guy.
How's life?
Fantastic.
How are you feeling?
I feel good.
Yeah?
I'm not as burnt out as you should at 20 years of doing this.
Yeah.
But I feel all right.
You getting smaller?
I am. I this past year, I want to say that I dropped 25, almost 30 pounds.
Yeah.
Intentionally.
Sure.
I wasn't like sick or anything.
You look jacked. You look geeked, cut up, ripped.
Thank you. I started, I saw some pictures of myself in January, and not that I look bad, but to me, I was like, all right, I'm getting older now. If I'm going to keep doing this, let's get in better shape. So I started calorie counting. I'm that guy now.
You never did that?
No, never meal prepped, never like really watched what I ate. I kind of ate what I wanted and just worked out, and the results were always there. I just got to a point where I wanted to look better. So my diet had to change.
Yeah.
The best investment I made, aside from all my new home gym equipment, is a food scale.
Okay.
I weigh out all my food so I know exactly what I'm eating. Every calorie, I track everything. Every calorie, every gram of protein. I would say in a given day, I just had this conversation last night, as a matter of fact. I would say in a given day, I'm within 10 calories of what I think I am and within 5 grams of protein.
That's crazy.
Daily, yes.
When are you having cheat days? Because you got to do that to not go crazy, and what does that look like? Or like a cheat meal?
What happens is I stay in a calorie deficit for the most part from like Monday to Friday or Monday to Saturday, because you've done this too. Like when you're on the road, eating options aren't always the best.
No.
So if you get something with a little higher calorie content, as long as it has enough protein in it, I'm okay. But what happens is my weight starts to dip down. Being in a calorie deficit all week, it starts to dip down. And when it starts to get too low, I know it's time to have a higher calorie meal, more carbs to try to bring my body weight up. I don't want to go too low, trying to stay in a certain range. If I told you what that was, you're not going to believe me. So we'll leave the numbers on the scale. We'll leave those out because no one's going to believe you anyway.
Well, now I feel like we kind of want to know. Now you have to tell me.
I went from around 245 to around 210 to 250.
Really?
Yeah, 210-ish is around where I want to be. 215.
That's crazy.
Yeah, from like 240, 250. There's a time. I would say at my peak, I was wrestling around 260 pounds.
Okay.
I would say the first time I ever wrestled you, I don't know if you remember, it was in some barn in... Do I remember? Some barn in Meadville. Yeah. Like a sawdust floor. I was around 260 pounds then.
Yeah. So I talked about it when I sat down with Cody Deaner, and we didn't go in depth about it. But yeah, that's the first time we wrestled, and I had met you a few times before that, and I think I've told you this personally. I remember thinking, like, when I'd see you on shows, I'm like, because I never really watched you work. I'm like, big jack guy, probably doesn't know how to wrestle, right? Like, you know what I mean? And so, like, I don't know, like, just making assumptions, you know what they say about assumptions.
Yeah, because big guys generally aren't the smoothest.
Yeah, and so I remember I show up to this barn, and I remember Hurricane was on the show, and I don't think I ever met Hurricane before, but for some reason he kept messing with me that day. Like he would walk up and like shake everybody's hand. He's like, and you, I don't know if I could swear on Patreon, but if not, bleep it out. He goes, and you, fuck you. And I was like, all right, well, all right. He's like, I don't like you. I don't like your thing. And I was like, all right, that's fine.
That's weird.
But I'm thinking to myself, I wanted to get out of that show early. Very thankful to be on that show. I love Rocky Reynolds, who's running the show. Yep. So then I look and I'm like, when am I on? And I go, looking on the card. And then I see right at the top in the main event, after Hurricane, it's me versus big time Bill Collier. And I go, damn. Because when you start out wrestling, like, you want to be the main event, but then once you're doing it, you're like, can I be pre-show?
After a while, you want to be on, like... Here, we're gonna let some secrets out. We're gonna peel the curtain back a little bit. The match you really want to be on is the one before an intermission, and you ride that straight to the merchandise table.
Give me that money.
Right to the merchandise table, and then out the side door.
Yes.
That's the spot you want to be in.
So, to kind of summarize it, and then you can go into this however you want to. It's like when we started talking, sometimes you get a feel based on how the planning is going.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, this is going to be good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Wait, what? Is this going to be, like, not just good, like, really good? And then after that, for years, people would ask me, like, who are the best wrestlers you've ever wrestled? And I would say, there are some guys that you work with that up your game and make you better than you actually are, and maybe just bring you to another level that I know you can go to in general. And I would say, like, Josh Alexander and Silas Young and Johnny Gargano and Matt Cross and Bill Collier. And they'd be like, who's Bill Collier?
Yeah.
Here's a segue for that. Why is it taking you so long to get this recognition? Because, like, legitimately, and I'm not bullshitting you, Bill, you are one of the best wrestlers in the world, in my personal opinion.
This is something you've told me in private on several occasions before, and I'll get to that in a second. And just, we can get into matches we had, was it early last year? When I was asked at ESW, okay, hey, we're gonna flip you heel. Our babyface champion's gonna be out for a while. We need a heel champion. Who do you want to work with? There was only one answer. It was Greg Iron. I was like, give me Greg Iron. I was like, well, he's kind of a heel. I was like, is he really? Do you hear the audience? I mean, they're kind of cheering him. They want to cheer him. I said, if you make me the heel, him the baby, I said, I promise you this will work. I'm not sure why it took me so long, honestly. I broke in a little late. I was a little older. I don't know if people know that. I was probably 26, almost 27 before I had my first match.
Where did you train?
I trained in Altoona, Pennsylvania. So I got a late start. Training schools were hard to find in my area. Good quality training schools were hard to find in my area. And I had a kid at a very young age. So there were a few things that backed that up. So I'm probably 26, like I said, before I started training. And my first training session it's a good one. I think there's a stigma with big guys. Like we said, they're not always the smoothest. They're big, they're blocky, because not mentioning any names, how many of those have you run into? Big, stocky, look great. And the bell rings, it's like they had cement shoes. My first training session, I ran the ropes. I took a body slam, a suplex, I think a clothesline, and I gave those three moves just to, like, familiarize myself with the ring and you know, the bumps and all that. The trainer says, all right, our next show is in 6 weeks. Get some boots, you're on it.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, I thought, and that was like, I know how to do this.
And so, like, now, obviously, in retrospect, because you are self-aware, and I feel like that's something that many people lack in wrestling. Obviously, I don't have the same look you do, but, like, my trainer realized that I could sell tickets. So within 3 months, I had my first match, and then I kept getting booked on shows, and I was like, yeah, pro wrestler, baby.
I know what I'm doing.
But I cringe looking back, not just that first year, like the first few years, because I was like, damn, I was not ready to be doing it.
No, I really wasn't. I mean, I was ready to come through the curtain and stand there.
Sure.
But aside from that, no, I didn't know shit about what I was doing. I didn't know how to structure a match. Psychology, I didn't even know that was a thing. I knew how to do one thing. I looked good standing there, and I could be safe. I think that was the biggest thing. I was safe with everyone that I worked with. Being a big guy, like, I could pick someone up with no problem. That's not always a comfortable feeling if they don't know what they're doing. I've worked with guys before that I've seen them wrestle, and I'm like, that guy's not picking me up, because I don't know how I'm going to come down.
Right.
Being safe was one of my biggest, like, I'm safe, at least I'm safe.
Yeah.
So, but as far as, like, why so late, I don't know. I've had looks at almost every major wrestling promotion. One particular, WWE. I had WWE tryouts in, like, 2010 and 11. And the feedback I got was, you look good. I mean, keep coming back. You look good. And that's kind of the feedback you want to hear. So I keep improving. And then I was booked as an extra, I want to say 2013, maybe 2014. I was 33, so it would have been 2014. And a higher up looks at me and goes, how old are you? 33. Kind of winced and walked away. And that was about it.
See, and like it was just, you just happened to be there that month where that was the point where
not higher.
We're not higher
over 30. Over 30 years old.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. So to kind of backtrack a second here, you said you were wrestling before you probably should have been.
Yeah.
Was there like a particular match or person that you worked with where then after it was like the light bulb went on and like things started to make a little bit more sense? Because for me, it was Gargano. Like, I was training with him, but it wasn't until I had to do a match with him, and then not only were we putting stuff together, but he explained to me why.
Okay.
Then it started connecting because, like, wrestling could sometimes be illogical. And when you put logic to the illogical, I was like, oh. And then, like, you add in that real-life element and, like, how things feel in that moment. Then I'm like, okay, I kind of get it now more than I have in the past.
There was an era. It's funny you mentioned there was an era of Erie wrestling when I first broke in like 06, 07, where Pro Wrestling Rampage was just starting to become a thing, and it was just starting to finally take off. And the three guys that I worked with early on, really, they'd been around a while. They knew what they were doing, and they gave me some kind of perspective into, there is a structure to this. There is a psychology to this, and how to hook an audience. I didn't know where to be and when, but I could listen well. Tell me where to be, I'll be there. Tell me when to be, and I'll be. Johnny Gargano was the first one. I don't even know if he'll remember this. It was one of my first bigger matches there, and I remember thinking, this kid's really good. And he got me through one, and he explained afterwards, we did this like this so we can get here. We did this like this so we can get here. The next person I worked with was Jason Bain. Bain was fun to work with. He was another guy. He was a big guy, very safe.
Underrated.
Yes, very underrated. And the last guy that I worked with pretty regularly. Not everybody's favorite, but I love the guys. J-Rock. He got me from start to finish, explained why we did things psychology-wise. And I know during this time, he had a reputation for being political in the locker room. And the way that I took it was, especially as I got a little older and started to understand, if he's going to go out and do something, he wants to do it his way, because if it fails, there's nobody to blame but himself. If he does something this way, the way someone else wants it done, doesn't work, he could say, well, I had a better idea and you didn't want to go with it. So that was the way I took that. But working with him early on was a lot of help. I probably learned more on the job training being in the ring with J-Rock early than I have with anyone. And then a few months after that, I was about the same experience level as Shane Taylor. So we were getting put into positions where we were expected to produce matches just by ourselves, and that helped both of us. I think both of us grow together. So I got a really long leash in Erie to find out who I was and learn how to work. So to me, that city is it's very sentimental to me to wrestle in Erie, because that was like the first place that gave me the opportunity to be me, let me go out and try things and see what worked and what did.
That makes sense. So now you mentioned you get the WWE opportunity. You're 33. You're too old.
Yep.
Now you're in TNA. Time has passed. Based on my math, you would have aged since then?
I would have aged significantly since then.
But I think, in my opinion, you're better than you've ever been. What was the catalyst for this opportunity to put you on this stage?
To be honest, I'm not really sure. If I had to guess, I would suspect that there was a role that needed filled, and I was the right guy to do it. It's like someone said, hey, we need this for this group. I know the guy. And I stepped into the role, and it just so happened that I'm in the best shape I've ever been in. I am doing some of the best work I've ever done. And I'll go ahead and I used to get a little weird as I approached 40 years old and I was still independent wrestling. I was like, hey, I'm the old guy in the locker room.
Feels strange.
It does. But like on this day, with the work that I'm putting out and the condition that I'm in, I'm wearing my age like a badge of honor. I still feel like I can compete with the kids that are in their mid-20s, and I'm 45 years old.
Yeah.
And I feel I can remember being young and watching wrestling. 45 years old, you have 1 foot in the grave.
Dude, wasn't like when Bob Backlund
Won the title. He's like 45 years old.
Yeah, he was like the crazy old guy.
Yeah.
He's so old and crazy at 45 years old. I was like,
and here I am. I feel fantastic. I'm in the best shape I've ever been in. I've only told a few people this. I got into really good shape. Like I said, I saw pictures of how I looked, and I wanted to get in better shape. So I started dialing in my diet. My workouts really didn't change. My workouts have always been pretty good. But I've been working with Spencer Slade a lot. And you've met Spencer. He's like,
yeah.
I've dubbed him the Terminator. He has one gear. It's in your face. And he's like a Terminator. He doesn't stop. He keeps moving forward. I felt like I was getting ready to wrestle him in Erie. And I felt like I owed him one match where he'd be able to look across the ring and I didn't look like the old guy trying to hang on, and Spencer looked the way that he did. So I said, all right, I got 3 months for this match, and I'm going to get into the best shape that I can get into. And on that night, dare I say, I looked better than Spencer, even for one night.
Yeah.
And then I thought, all right, I got one more big title match for IWC in June. It was like 2 weeks later against Duke Davis.
Right.
Peel the curtain back a little bit. We kind of know what's going on beforehand. I knew I was dropping the title, and I thought, these two matches are going to be pretty big. I'm going to do these two, and I'm going to ride the end of the year out. And at the end of 25, which we're coming close to, that was going to be it. I wasn't going to have no retirement tour, no retirement speech. I was going to wrestle my last match and tell promoters, all right, I need some time off. Don't call me. I'll call you.
Just right off into the sun.
And disappear, and it would take people months to even figure out I wasn't around. Like, you would have had to message, hey, Bill, I haven't seen you for a while. Where are you at? That's it, man. All done.
Yeah.
In the meantime, that's when my phone rings with this opportunity, TNA, and I just happened to be in the best shape I've ever been in. Couldn't have worked out better.
It's always when you're not looking. That comes along.
Yeah, I really wasn't.
So you've been to Canada a time or two.
A few.
And now you're becoming a constant here, a top tier. Talk to me about the competition that you faced here and what it's like tonight, stepping in the ring with the champion, Cody D.
Competition at top tier is just that. It's top tier. You look around the locker room and everyone is capable of doing their job. So there's no bad options. Over in this corner, no bad options. Over in this corner, there's no bad options. Everyone here is capable of having a main event caliber match, and it's not like that everywhere. I've grown to enjoy coming to Canada because a lot of the locker rooms are like that. Everyone is capable of doing their jobs to a high level. So if any promoters are listening, I haven't wrestled Tarek yet or Brett Banks. If we can please and thank you. Get those two matches. Well, that's just for me. But I'm getting to wrestle Cody Deaner, and he's someone I wrestled first time 2015, 2016 maybe. I was starting to get pretty good at this time and thought I really had a good handle on things. And then here's Deaner. He has a same approach, but a different outlook. And it's like, okay, here's something a little different we can do. He's exceptionally creative. He's fun to work with. I enjoy working with Cody Deaner because even as experienced as I am, he's got more experience than me. He's been around longer than I am. It's another opportunity for me to learn and grow. And we all say this, if you're not learning and growing, what are you doing?
You're dying.
Yeah, you're dying. Every match I try to look for something that I can use to better myself for next time. When you wrestle somebody like Cody Deaner, it makes it easy.
So tonight you might walk away the top tier champion.
Might. Well, that's what's going to happen.
Hey, look, I would never doubt you, Bill. It could happen. It could not happen. We'll see. But now that you've hit these new milestones in your career, you're obviously extending this beyond 2020.
Yeah. We're going to be around a little longer.
Do you have like another age in mind, or like a time where you're like, I'm going to hang it up, or are you just going to play it by ear now and see how things take off?
Now, it was a play it by ear before. I think it's going to be pretty much the same now. We'll play it by ear. We'll see how I go. Obviously, how much fun I'm having is going to play a big role in it, and how healthy I stay is going to play a big role in it. I've been very fortunate to this point to have never been injured. The time during COVID.
I'm going to knock on wood.
Yeah.
Knock on wood. All right.
The time during COVID, that 3 months that we had off, was the longest stretch I've ever had off from wrestling. I've never had time off. I've never been injured. I've been consistent since like 2007 to now with no time off.
That's crazy.
And again, like I said, I'm not injured. I feel good. I'm in great shape. My body doesn't hurt. So as long as I stay healthy and this stays fun and entertaining for me. And I think what I would miss the most, though, is hanging out with the boys. That's one of my biggest, like, man, this weekend I could see, like, I could see Greg.
I was missing that when I was out. You know what I mean? The camaraderie and just like, I don't know, it wasn't until I got into wrestling that, you know, I've always felt weird. And I realized as I've gotten older, like, leaning into my weirdness has led me to the best successes of my life.
Absolutely. And
it's just nice because to someone that doesn't know, wrestling is strange, but if you're in this world, brotherhood, you know, I never felt like I fit in anywhere else. So it's like, I'm happy and privileged to be able to know you on a level like this. And I'm so happy that you're finally getting the opportunity you deserve.
And I appreciate that. And not for nothing, we have conversations from time to time in private. And I was one that would reach, hey, how you doing? How's everything going? You know, wanted to wish you a speedy recovery and all that. And, but yeah, the camaraderie, like you said, like, I even find it a little more difficult fitting in real life now, more so than a wrestling locker room, because as weird and as different as someone is on the outside, that's just how much more you fit in a wrestling locker room. The things you see go on in a wrestling locker room will fly nowhere else, but it's just normal here, and we accept that. Yeah. And I think it makes us strange to the outside world a little bit.
100%.
Because when I'm in a room full of people that are what we dub normal, I can feel like, you know, I feel a little like, where's the chaos and the strangeness. But yeah, wrestling locker rooms, man, best place to be.
Well, it's always good to share a locker room with you. Thank you for taking this opportunity to talk with us for a little bit. Backstage with BLACKFLY, and perhaps maybe we can do this on the next show, and we might have that 10, 15 pounds.
15 pounds gold. I'll put on 10 or 15 pounds.
There you go. Big handshake.
Thank you.
Always good seeing you.
Absolutely, my man.